You are mentally performative. You post quotes about resilience while checking your phone every 11 minutes to see if someone validated your last thought. You talk about boundaries while your emotional state is determined by a text message that took someone 4 seconds to type. You claim independence while your mood for the entire day hinges on whether your boss smiled at you in the hallway. Let me show you the architecture of your collapse. Yesterday, someone criticized your work. Maybe it was your manager, maybe it was a client, maybe it was a comment online from someone whose face you will never see. The criticism itself doesn't matter. What matters is what happened inside your skull in the 3 seconds after you received it. Your chest constricted, your breathing changed. Your thoughts immediately spiraled into defense mode. You started composing responses you would never send. You replayed the interaction 8 times before lunch. You texted a screenshot to someone asking if you were wrong. You went to sleep thinking about it. You woke up still thinking about it. This is not resilience. This is not mental toughness. This is a nervous system hijacking. This is psychological slavery with better marketing. You have been measured by a fake metric. They told you that mental toughness means bouncing back, that it means endurance, that it means pushing through. They sold you the language of strength while building you an architecture of fragility. You think resilience is about how fast you recover. This is the lie. Resilience is not about recovery speed. It is about whether you fracture in the first place. And you fracture constantly. Someone questions your competence. You fracture. Someone withdraws their approval. You fracture. Someone misunderstands your intentions. You fracture. You are a psychological structure made of glass, performing the aesthetics of steel. You are untouchable in theory, penetrable in practice. You are one sharp word away from a 3-day spiral. Here is what this looks like in vivid, physical detail. You sit in meetings where you should be focused on strategy, but 40% of your cognitive capacity is allocated to reading the room. Is that person annoyed with you? Did your comment land wrong? Should you clarify? Should you apologize? You are not present. You are performing presence while internally running damage control simulations on social dynamics that may not even exist. You make decisions not based on what is effective, but based on what will be received well. You choose the safe option, the popular option, the option that minimizes the risk of criticism. You call this being strategic. It is not. It is being controlled. You have outsourced your decision-making authority to an imaginary committee of people whose approval you need more than you need results. You scroll social media, and your cortisol spikes 17 times in 20 minutes. Someone posted an achievement. You feel inadequate. Someone posted a criticism of people like you. You feel attacked. Someone posted something that conflicts with your worldview. You feel compelled to respond, to correct, to defend. You are not consuming content. Content is consuming you. You go home, and someone you love is in a bad mood. Immediately, you internalize it. What did you do? How can you fix it? Should you ask? Should you give space? You cannot exist in the uncertainty. You cannot allow someone else's emotional state to remain unresolved because your nervous system interprets their distance as your failure. This is not empathy. This is codependency with a vocabulary upgrade. You are invisible to yourself because every ounce of your attention is spent managing how you are perceived by others. You have no internal life. You have no sovereign self. You have a performance that you have been running for so long, you forgot it was a performance. You think you are navigating the world. You are not. You are being navigated. You are a psychological puppet, and every person you encounter gets to pull a string. Criticism pulls the anxiety string. Praise pulls the validation string. Silence pulls the insecurity string. You call this being human. I call this being exploitable. The world does not reward the fragile. It does not promote the breakable. It does not invest in the penetrable. It uses them. It extracts value from them. Then it discards them the moment they can no longer perform. Right now, at this exact moment, your mental state is dictated by forces outside your control. The tone of an email, the absence of a response, the look on someone's face, a comment you read, a metric you didn't hit, a person who didn't acknowledge you. You are a weather vane spinning in every direction, convinced that responsiveness is depth, when in reality it is just proof that you have no anchor, no center, no fortress. You are soft, not in your intentions, in your architecture. And softness in a world of asymmetrical power is not a virtue. It is a liability. It is a target. It is an invitation for every force around you to shape you, to move you, to break you. You have spent years building a self that collapses under the weight of a single disapproving glance. And you wonder why you feel exhausted. The fracture begins where sovereignty ends. Let me show you the test, right now, in real time. Imagine this scenario. Someone just left a comment on this video. It says, "This is pseudo-intellectual garbage. You don't understand Machiavelli at all. Delete this." What is your first impulse? Stop. Do not rationalize it. Do not perform the evolved response you think you should have. What is the actual, immediate, visceral reaction that fires in your nervous system before your prefrontal cortex gets involved? Here are the 3 patterns. One of them is yours. Pattern 1, the defender. Your first thought, "That is not true. I need to respond." You start composing a reply in your head. You cite sources. You explain your reasoning. You demonstrate your knowledge. You need them to see they are wrong. You need to correct the record. You spend 12 minutes crafting a response that proves you do understand Machiavelli, that you are credible, that you are not what they said you are. You post it. Then you check back in 20 minutes to see if they replied. They did not. You check again an hour later. Still nothing. But now there are 3 more comments agreeing with the original criticism. Your chest tightens. You start composing another response. You consider deleting the first one. You wonder if you made it worse. This is the defender. Your mental architecture collapses the moment someone questions your competence. You cannot exist in a state where someone, somewhere, believes something false about you. You need correction. You need resolution. You need them to know the truth. This is not mental toughness. This is mental servitude. You are a servant to every misperception. You are enslaved to the need for others to see you accurately. Your peace of mind is held hostage by strangers who will forget you exist in 48 hours. Pattern 2, the validator. Your first thought, "Are they right? Let me check." You screenshot the comment. You send it to 3 friends. "Someone said this about my work. What do you think? Am I off base here?" You need external confirmation that you are not crazy, that you are not wrong, that you are still credible. You wait for responses. One friend says, "Ignore them. They are just a hater." Relief floods your system. Another says, "I mean, maybe they have a point." Panic floods your system. You are now dependent on a majority vote from people who did not even watch the video to determine whether you should feel okay about yourself. You refresh the message thread. You wait for the 3rd opinion. That one will be the tiebreaker. That one will tell you how to feel. This is the validator. Your mental state is a democracy where everyone gets a vote except you. You outsource your emotional stability to a committee of people who have less information than you do. You cannot self-assess. You cannot self-validate. You cannot exist without consensus. This is not mental toughness. This is mental outsourcing. You have subcontracted the management of your internal state to anyone willing to give you an opinion. Your self-worth is determined by popular vote. You are not sovereign. You are a referendum. Pattern 3. The internalizer. Your first thought: why did they say that? What did I miss? You do not respond to the comment. You do not screenshot it. You do not ask for opinions, but you replay it. Over and over. At dinner, in the shower, before sleep. You reread your own work, looking for the flaw. You rewatch sections of the video, trying to see what they saw. You construct imaginary debates where you defend yourself more eloquently. 3 days later, you are still thinking about it. The comment took them 11 seconds to write. It has occupied your mental real estate for 72 hours. They moved on immediately. You have never moved on at all. You are still hosting the criticism in your mind, offering it premium accommodations, giving it unlimited access to your attention. This is the internalizer. You think you are processing or reflecting. You are not. You are ruminating. You are allowing a stranger's 15-word opinion to colonize your consciousness, rent-free, indefinitely. You are a landlord who charges nothing while your mental property gets destroyed by tenants who owe you nothing. This is not mental toughness. This is mental real estate fraud. Now, which one are you? Be honest. Not aspirational. Not the version you perform on good days. Which pattern fires first, automatically, before you have time to correct it? Because here is what just happened. Your impulse revealed your architecture. The defender's architecture. External validation dependency cannot function until perception is corrected. The validator's architecture, consensus dependency, cannot function until others confirm reality. The internalizer's architecture, rumination loop dependency, cannot function until mental resolution is achieved. All 3 patterns share the same foundational flaw. Your mental state is dictated by external input. Someone speaks, you fracture. Someone criticizes, you spiral. Someone questions, you collapse. This is the diagnostic. This is the mirror. And if you recognized yourself in any of those 3 patterns, you are not mentally tough. You are mentally responsive. You are a psychological instrument that anyone can play if they know which keys to press. Let me show you what this costs you. The defender spends 14 hours per month in defensive mode, composing responses, crafting explanations, correcting misperceptions. That is 168 hours per year. 1 full week of your life spent defending yourself to people who will forget you exist by tomorrow. The validator makes 0 autonomous decisions. Every choice is filtered through external confirmation. Career moves, relationship decisions, creative risks, all delayed, diluted, or destroyed by the need for consensus. You are not living your life. You are living the averaged opinion of your social circle. The internalizer operates at 60% cognitive capacity because 40% is always allocated to unresolved loops. You are never fully present, never fully focused, never fully effective. A portion of your processing power is always running background programs of past criticisms, past failures, past moments where someone saw you differently than you see yourself. This is the invoice for an untouchable mind. Most people never see it because they never audit the cost. They accept the constant low-grade anxiety, the perpetual need for validation, the mental fog of unresolved rumination as normal. They call it being thoughtful. They call it caring what people think. They call it being self-aware. It is none of those things. It is architectural failure. The reason you have this failure is not because you are weak. It is because you were never taught to build differently. You were taught to be responsive, to be considerate, to be affected by feedback. You were conditioned from childhood to measure your worth by external metrics, good grades. You are valuable. parental approval. You are safe. Social acceptance. You are normal. You were trained to build a mind that only functions when the environment cooperates. And now, decades later, you have a psychological structure that collapses the moment someone introduces dissonance. The 8 laws I am about to give you dismantle this architecture, not through motivation, not through affirmations, through surgical reconstruction. Each law targets one of the dependency patterns. Each law removes one piece of the external scaffolding your mind is leaning on. Each law forces you to build internal sovereignty where you currently have external reliance. But before we go there, you need to understand something critical. Building an untouchable mind will make you unrecognizable to the people who know you now. The defender will stop defending. People who relied on your need to explain yourself will lose leverage. The validator will stop asking permission. People who profited from your consensus seeking will lose influence. The internalizer will stop ruminating. People who weaponized your overthinking will lose ammunition. You will not be nicer afterward. You will not be easier afterward. You will be effective afterward. And effectiveness in a world built on exploiting fragility looks like coldness to those who needed you weak. Are you willing to pay that price? Because if you are not, close this now. Return to the defender. Return to the validator. Return to the internalizer. They are comfortable prisons. Most people live their entire lives inside them, never once realizing they were locked in a cell where they held the key. But if you are still here, if you just recognized yourself in that mirror, and you are ready to shatter the glass, then let me show you the 8 laws. The mirror shows you what you are. The laws show you what you become. In 1532, Niccolò Machiavelli published The Prince, not as philosophy, as an operating system. He was not writing about how the world should be. He was documenting how power actually functions when you remove the anesthesia of moral fantasy. 5 centuries later, most people still have not read it. Those who have read it misunderstood it. They think it is about manipulation, about cruelty, about political strategy. They are wrong. The Prince is a manual on psychological sovereignty. It is about building a mind that cannot be destabilized by external forces. I have extracted 8 laws from Machiavelli's chapters. These are not tips. These are not suggestions. These are architectural principles. Violate them, remain fragile. Internalize them, become untouchable. These are the 8 laws of mental sovereignty. Law 1, the severance doctrine. From chapter 15, concerning things for which men, and especially princes, are praised or blamed. Machiavelli wrote, "A man who wishes to act entirely up to his professions of virtue soon meets with what destroys him among so much that is evil." Translation: your need to be seen as virtuous is your primary vulnerability. Most people build their identity around being perceived a certain way. The good one, the reliable one, the kind one, the smart one. They need others to confirm this perception. When someone challenges it, they fracture. The severance doctrine is the first law because it is the most foundational. You must sever the neurological link between your internal state and external validation. Your sense of self cannot be a democracy. It cannot be up for vote. It cannot require confirmation from an audience. Right now, you perform virtue for observers. You explain your intentions so people understand you meant well. You defend your character when someone misinterprets you. You need people to know you are not what they think you are. This need is the hook they use to control you. Mental sovereignty begins when you accept that you will be misunderstood, misrepresented, misjudged, and you build a mind that does not require correction of these perceptions. You do not explain. You do not defend. You operate. Here is what this looks like in practice. Someone accuses you of something you did not do. Your first impulse is to correct them, to provide evidence, to clear your name. The severance doctrine says, let them be wrong about you, not because you are hiding something, because their perception is not your responsibility to manage, because engaging in the correction game means you have accepted that their opinion has jurisdiction over your peace of mind. It does not. The moment you stop needing to be understood, you become unmanipulatable, because manipulation works through leverage. Leverage requires a hook. The hook is always the same, your need for them to see you a certain way. Remove the need, remove the hook, remove the leverage. Operational execution. For the next 7 days, do not correct a single misperception about you. Someone assumes the wrong motive. Let it stand. Someone misinterprets your tone. Do not clarify. Someone believes something false about your intentions. Observe the discomfort of letting it remain uncorrected. That discomfort is withdrawal. You are detoxing from the addiction to being understood. The sovereign needs no jury. Law 2. The Fortuna Framework. From Chapter 25, concerning the influence of fortune in human affairs, Machiavelli wrote, "Fortune is the arbiter of one half of our actions, but she still leaves us to direct the other half." Translation: chaos is not the exception. Chaos is the default. Most people build minds that only function under favorable conditions, clear expectations, stable relationships, predictable outcomes, fair treatment. When chaos arrives, they shatter, not because the chaos was unprecedented, because they believed it should not exist. This is the lethality of entitlement thinking. The Fortuna Framework teaches you to assume adversity as the baseline. Things will go wrong. People will betray you. Circumstances will collapse. Plans will fail. This is not pessimism. This is preparation. Mental toughness is not the absence of adversity. It is the elimination of surprise when adversity arrives. When you stop being shocked by difficulty, you stop being destabilized by it. Right now, your mind is calibrated for fairness. When unfairness occurs, you spend energy being outraged that it happened instead of responding to what happened. You protest the existence of the problem instead of solving the problem. This is ineffective. The untouchable mind does not argue with reality. It does not waste processing power on "this should not be happening." It immediately moves to "this is happening, now what?" Here is what this looks like in practice. You lose your job. Most people spend the first 72 hours in shock. How could they do this? This is not fair. I did everything right. The Fortuna Framework says, you have 72 hours to operationalize your next move. Shock is a luxury you cannot afford. Operational execution. Every Sunday for the next 12 weeks, write down 3 things that could go wrong in the coming week. Job instability, relationship conflict, financial disruption, health issue. For each scenario, write your response protocol, not how you would feel, what you would do. This is premeditatio malorum, negative visualization. You are not manifesting disaster. You are preloading your nervous system so that when chaos arrives, your response is automatic, not paralytic. When everyone else is frozen in shock, you are already moving. The fragile prepare for sunshine. The sovereign prepare for storms. Law 3. The asymmetrical response. From Chapter 19, that one should avoid contempt and hatred. Machiavelli observed that a prince must avoid being hated, but need not fear being feared. The people's emotional state toward him must be strategically managed, symmetrical to his emotional state toward them, reframed for mental sovereignty. Your emotional response must be asymmetrical to the stimulus. Most people operate on symmetrical reactivity. Someone raises their voice, they raise theirs. Someone disrespects them, they feel disrespected. Someone praises them, they feel validated. This is one-to-one emotional economics. This is weakness. The asymmetrical response is the doctrine of responding to chaos with calm, to aggression with stillness, to praise with indifference. When your emotional output is unpredictable and disproportionately controlled, you become psychologically untouchable. Others expect you to react. When you do not, they lose leverage. Right now, your reactions are predictable. Insult you, you get defensive. Ignore you, you get anxious. Praise you, you get validated. You are a machine with visible buttons. Anyone who studies you for 15 minutes knows exactly how to manipulate your state. The asymmetrical response breaks the pattern. Someone insults you. You pause, 7 seconds. Then you respond with curiosity instead of defense. Interesting perspective. What led you to that conclusion? They were prepared for anger. You gave them anthropology. They have no script for this. They lose control. Operational execution. For the next 30 days, implement the 7-second rule. Before responding to any emotionally charged stimulus, pause for 7 full seconds. Count them. 1. Observe the stimulus. 2. Observe your impulse to react. 3. Observe the emotion rising. 4. Observe the narrative your mind is constructing. 5. 6. 7. Choose your response from sovereignty, not from reaction. 7 seconds rewires the neural pathway between stimulus and response. It inserts agency where there was only automation. Chaos expects chaos. Give it nothing. Stop for a moment. How many of these laws are you currently violating? Right now, today, in real time. Be specific. Because if the answer is more than 2, you are not mentally tough. You are mentally theatrical. You are performing strength while operating from fragility. And the world sees it. Your competitors see it. The people you are trying to impress see it. They see the need for approval, the fear of rejection, the desperation for validation, and they use it. Not because they are cruel, because you are exploitable. Law 4, the opacity protocol. From Chapter 18, concerning the way in which princes should keep faith, Machiavelli stated, "A prudent ruler ought not to keep faith when keeping faith would be against his interest." In mental terms, your transparency is a tactical error. Most people treat their internal state like open source code. They share everything. They explain everything. They reveal their strategies, their fears, their triggers, their plans. They believe this is authenticity. They believe this is connection. They believe this is strength. It is strategic incompetence. When people know your triggers, they can pull them. When they know your fears, they can exploit them. When they know your goals, they can sabotage them. When they know what you need emotionally, they can withhold it or weaponize it. The opacity protocol does not mean you lie. It means you do not volunteer ammunition. It means you understand that not every question deserves an answer. Not every emotion deserves expression. Not every thought deserves externalization. Right now, you over-explain. Someone asks why you made a decision. You give them a 15-minute dissertation on your reasoning, your doubts, your process. You think you are being transparent. You are being penetrable. The untouchable mind shares outcomes, never processes. It reveals conclusions, never deliberations. It presents decisions, never the internal debate that produced them. Here is what this looks like in practice. Your boss asks why you are leaving the company. Most people explain, "I feel undervalued. I do not see growth potential. I think the culture is toxic. You just gave them a manual on how to counteroffer, how to manipulate you into staying, or how to make your remaining time miserable. The opacity protocol says, I have accepted another opportunity that aligns with my goals. No elaboration, no vulnerability, no leverage points, operational execution. For the next 14 days, reduce unsolicited personal disclosure by 80%. When someone asks, why, give them the minimum viable answer. When someone probes your emotional state, deflect with a question. When someone tries to extract your strategy, share only the outcome. Watch what happens. People will call you guarded, closed off, difficult to read. These are not insults. These are confirmations that you are no longer an open book they can study and exploit. The ghost moves unseen. The fool announces every step. Law 5. The deletion imperative. From Chapter 3, Concerning Mixed Principalities, Machiavelli observed that new princes who inherit mixed territories face constant rebellion unless they eliminate the old power structures entirely. Half measures create instability. Total transformation creates control. Applied to mental architecture, you cannot build sovereignty on top of old programming. You must delete the previous operating system. Most people try to upgrade their psychology. They add confidence to insecurity. They layer strength over weakness. They install new beliefs on top of old fears. This does not work. The old code conflicts with the new code. The system crashes under pressure. The deletion imperative requires demolition first, renovation second. You must identify the inherited beliefs that make you fragile, then systematically starve them until they cease to function. Right now, you are running software installed by people who are no longer in your life. Parental programming, cultural conditioning, childhood trauma, societal expectations. These programs are running in the background, consuming resources, dictating behavior. You think your reactions are yours. They are not. They are scripts written by your third-grade teacher, your first rejection, your family's anxiety about money, your culture's obsession with status. The deletion imperative asks, which beliefs are you carrying that do not serve you? Write them down. I need to be liked to be safe. Conflict means I did something wrong. If I am not productive, I am worthless. Other people's emotions are my responsibility. These are not truths. These are programs, and programs can be deleted. Here is what this looks like in practice. You believe you need to be liked. Every decision you make is filtered through, will this make people like me less? The deletion imperative says, for 90 days, make one decision per week, based purely on effectiveness, regardless of likability. Week 1, you say no to a request without apologizing. Week 2, you skip a social obligation you do not want to attend. Week 3, you state an unpopular opinion without softening it. You will feel guilty. You will feel selfish. You will feel like you are doing something wrong. This is not your intuition. This is the old program detecting that it is being deleted. It will fight. It will produce anxiety, shame, fear. Let it. Then act anyway. Operational execution. Identify one inherited belief that makes you fragile. For the next 90 days, violate that belief once per week. Not recklessly, strategically. Each violation weakens the program. By day 90, the program no longer runs automatically. The architect builds from nothing, not from ruins. Law 6, the mercenary audit. From Chapter 12, how many kinds of soldiery there are, and concerning mercenaries. Machiavelli despised mercenaries. They fight for payment, not principle. They abandon you when the battle becomes costly. They serve whoever pays them, which means they serve no one. In psychological terms, most of your support system is mercenary. The mercenary audit is the doctrine of evaluating your environment for asymmetrical loyalty. Who is in your life because of what you provide? Who disappears when you are no longer useful, entertaining, or successful? Who stays only when staying is easy? Right now, you are surrounded by people who are loyal to your utility, not to you. They like the version of you that makes them feel good, the version that validates them, the version that entertains them, the version that solves their problems. The moment you stop performing that version, they vanish. This is not cruelty. This is accurate observation. Most relationships are transactional. People stay because the transaction is favorable. The moment the cost exceeds the benefit, they renegotiate or exit. The untouchable mind is not built in crowds. It is built in isolation, then selectively fortified by those who have proven loyalty under pressure. Here is what this looks like in practice. You go through a difficult season. You lose your job. Your relationship ends. Your health declines. Watch who stays, not who says they will stay. Who actually stays. Who calls. Who shows up. Who asks what you need. Most people will offer thoughts and prayers from a distance. A few will offer proximity and presence. The few are your actual relationships. The rest were transactions. The mercenary audit is brutal because it reveals how alone you actually are. Most people avoid this audit because the truth is destabilizing. But mental sovereignty requires truth, not comfort. Operational execution. Conduct a relationship audit. List every person in your life. Next to each name, write the last time they showed up during a low point. Not a peak, a valley. If you cannot identify a moment, they are a mercenary. This does not mean you cut them off. It means you recalibrate your expectations. You stop investing sovereignty-level trust in transaction-level relationships. The mercenary fights for gold. The sovereign fights for self. Law 7. The self-sourced power. From Chapter 6, concerning new principalities, which are acquired by one's own arms and ability. Machiavelli praised leaders who built power through their own ability, not through inheritance or fortune. He called them armed prophets. They succeeded because their strength was internal, not borrowed. In mental terms, you must become the source of your own stability. Most people outsource their psychological power to external conditions. They will be happy when they get the promotion. They will be confident when they lose the weight. They will be secure when they find the relationship. They are waiting for external circumstances to grant them internal states. This is dependency. This is fragility. This is building your mind on rented land. The self-sourced power doctrine says, your mental state cannot be conditional. It cannot wait for better circumstances. It must be generated internally, regardless of external conditions. Right now, you are waiting for the right job, the right relationship, the right opportunity, the right validation. You believe that mental toughness will arrive when life becomes easier. It will not. Mental toughness is built in the current conditions, not the ideal ones. Caesar did not wait for a better Rome. He built his power in the Rome that existed. You must do the same with your mind. Here is what this looks like in practice. You tell yourself you will start exercising when work is less stressful. You will start the business when you have more savings. You will set boundaries when the relationship is more stable. These are not plans. These are deferrals. You are outsourcing your agency to future conditions that may never arrive. The self-sourced power doctrine says, build now, in these conditions, with these resources, with this much stress, with this little support. Operational execution. Identify one area where you are waiting for external conditions to improve before you act. For the next 30 days, take one action per week in that area, using only current resources. Do not wait for permission. Do not wait for readiness. Do not wait for the perfect time. Operate from scarcity. Operate from chaos. Operate from the reality you have, not the reality you wish existed. The weak wait for conditions. The sovereign creates them internally. Law 8. The surgical elimination. From Chapter 7, concerning new principalities acquired, either by the arms of others or by good fortune, and Chapter 8, concerning those who have obtained a principality by wickedness. Machiavelli studied Cesare Borgia with clinical precision. Borgia understood that stability sometimes requires ruthless elimination of threats, not negotiation, not reformation, elimination. In mental terms, there are parts of your psychology that must be executed, not managed. Most people try to coexist with their weaknesses. They manage their anxiety. They work around their insecurities. They accommodate their fears. They negotiate with the parts of themselves that make them fragile. This is ineffective. Some psychological patterns are incompatible with sovereignty. They cannot be reformed. They must be eliminated. The need to be liked, the addiction to comfort, the fear of being alone, the belief that you are owed fairness. These are not flaws to manage. These are liabilities to delete. The surgical elimination is the final law because it is the most uncompromising. You must identify the psychological patterns that make you penetrable, then design extinction protocols for each one. No compromise, no moderation, execution. Here is what this looks like in practice. You have a need for external validation that manifests as checking social media obsessively. You tell yourself you will just check less. You will be more mindful. You will set boundaries. This is negotiation. The surgical elimination says, delete the application, not disable, delete, for 90 days, no exceptions. Your mind will produce withdrawal symptoms, anxiety, restlessness, compulsion. This is the program fighting for survival, the let it die, operational execution. Identify your top 3 psychological dependencies, the patterns that make you most fragile. For each one, design a 90-day extinction protocol. If it is the need for approval, refuse all compliments without explanation. If it is the addiction to comfort, introduce deliberate discomfort daily. If it is the fear of conflict, initiate one difficult conversation per week. These protocols will feel extreme. That is the point. Moderation does not eliminate, it prolongs. The surgeon does not negotiate with the tumor. You have just absorbed 8 laws, not read them, absorbed them. Now the question is not whether you understand them. The question is whether you will execute them, because understanding without execution is just intellectual entertainment. It is mental masturbation. It changes nothing. You will close this video, return to your fragile patterns, and wonder why you are still breakable. The laws do not work through agreement. They work through application. So I will ask you directly, which law are you violating right now, today, in real time? Be specific, because that is the law you start with. In a world of noise, be the silence. Let me describe your life with forensic precision. You woke up this morning. First thing you did, reached for your phone. Before your feet touched the floor, before you processed where you were, before you remembered what day it was, your hand moved toward the screen. You scrolled, you compared, you measured yourself against curated lives, against highlight reels, against people who are performing success while you perform adequacy. You told yourself it was just staying informed. Just checking in, just seeing what is happening. This is the first surrender of the day. The first moment you traded sovereignty for stimulation. You did not even make it 60 seconds before outsourcing your mental state to forces outside your control. You go to work. Someone questions your idea in a meeting. Your stomach tightens. Not because the question was valid, because it was public. Because now others heard doubt expressed about your competence. You spend the next 40 minutes replaying the interaction. 7 better responses, 4 clarifications, 2 preemptive defenses for the next meeting. This is defender behavior. You are operating in constant damage control mode, managing perceptions instead of executing strategy. You sit at lunch, alone. You pull out your phone because the absence of company feels like a statement about your social value. You cannot exist in solitude without needing to fill it. You scroll. You text someone. You need proof that you are not actually alone, just choosing to be alone right now. This is validator behavior. You are outsourcing your comfort with your own company to evidence that other people still want your company. You go home. Someone you live with is distant. You immediately internalize it. What did you do wrong? Should you ask? Should you give them space? You cannot function in the uncertainty. You need resolution. You need to know if their mood is about you. You need to fix it if it is. You need confirmation that it is not if it is not. This is internalizer behavior. You are hosting everyone else's emotional weather inside your own nervous system. You lie in bed. You think about tomorrow, the presentation, the conversation you need to have, the deadline. But you are not strategizing. You are catastrophizing. You are running failure simulations. You are pre-experiencing rejection that has not occurred. You are manufacturing anxiety about futures that do not exist. You call this being prepared. It is not. It is mental self-sabotage. This is your life. This is the unedited architecture. You are not navigating the world from a position of strength. You are surviving it from a position of perpetual fragility. Let me show you where the fractures are. You believe that sensitivity is depth, that being affected by things proves you are human, that feeling everything intensely is a sign of emotional intelligence. This is the lie they sold you to keep you controllable. Sensitivity without sovereignty is not depth. It is dependency. You are not emotionally intelligent. You are emotionally porous. Every external force penetrates you. Every comment, every glance, every change in tone. You absorb it all, process none of it effectively, then carry the residue for days. You post about boundaries, but you have none. You talk about self-care, but you do not protect your mental state from invasion. You claim independence, but your mood is determined by the last interaction you had. You are a psychological sponge. You soak up everything. You retain everything. You become heavy with other people's projections, opinions, and energy. Then you wonder why you feel exhausted. You think you are empathetic. You are not. You are codependent. Real empathy is the ability to understand another person's state without absorbing it. You cannot do this. When someone is anxious, you become anxious. When someone is angry, you become destabilized. When someone withdraws, you spiral. This is not connection. This is contagion. You have confused emotional availability with strength. You have confused responsiveness with maturity. You have confused your inability to maintain internal stability with being a good person. And here is the most dangerous part. You have built an identity around this fragility. You tell yourself you are sensitive, you are thoughtful, you are considerate. These are not character traits. These are defense mechanisms for a mind that cannot handle conflict, cannot tolerate disapproval, cannot exist without external validation. You are not mentally tough. You are mentally performative. You know the language. You post the quotes. You listen to the podcasts. You perform the aesthetics of resilience while operating from a foundation of complete penetrability. Let me be specific about what this looks like. Someone at work gets promoted over you. You smile. You congratulate them. You say all the right things. But internally, you are disintegrating. You question your worth. You replay every interaction with your manager, looking for where you failed. You compare yourself to the person who got promoted. You construct narratives about favoritism, politics, unfairness. You do not process the disappointment. You do not extract the lesson. You do not adjust your strategy. You just spiral in a loop of inadequacy for 72 hours until the next thing distracts you. This is sleeper behavior. You are asleep to your own patterns. You are running the same psychological programs you ran at 15 years old. You have not upgraded. You have not evolved. You have just gotten better at hiding the collapse. Your relationship ends. You tell people you are fine. You post about growth. You talk about lessons learned. But you are checking their social media 4 times a day. You are analyzing their new posts for signs they are happier without you. You are looking for evidence that they miss you. You need them to regret leaving you, because if they do not, it confirms your deepest fear, that you are not worth keeping. This is mimic behavior. You are mimicking recovery while remaining psychologically hostage to someone who is no longer in your life. You start a project, a business, a creative endeavor, something that matters to you. You work on it for 3 weeks. Then someone makes a dismissive comment, not even direct criticism, just a casual, "I do not know if there is a market for that," or "that has been done before." You stop, not immediately. You tell yourself you are just taking a break. You are just refining the idea. You are just waiting for the right time. But the truth is, one comment from one person was enough to destabilize your commitment to something you claimed was important to you. This is what happens when your internal conviction is weaker than external opinion. This is what happens when you have not built sovereignty. You are not mentally tough. You are mentally reactive. You are one criticism away from abandoning your goals, one rejection away from questioning your path, one disapproving look away from compromising your standards. And the worst part is, you know this. You know you are fragile. You know you break easily. You know you need validation. But instead of fixing the architecture, you have just gotten better at managing the performance. You have learned to hide it. You have learned the right things to say. You have learned how to appear unaffected while being completely penetrated. You are a facade, a shell, a performance of toughness built on a foundation of absolute fragility. Here is what you are not doing. You are not executing the severance doctrine. You are still tethered to being understood. You are not applying the Fortuna framework. You are still shocked when things go wrong. You are not practicing the asymmetrical response. You are still reacting in proportion to every stimulus. You have not activated the opacity protocol. You are still over-explaining, over-sharing, over-revealing. You have not completed the deletion imperative. You are still operating on inherited programming. You have not conducted the mercenary audit. You are still surrounded by conditional relationships. You have not internalized the self-sourced power. You are still waiting for external conditions to save you. You have not performed the surgical elimination. You are still negotiating with weaknesses that should be executed. You are not mentally tough. You are mentally theatrical, and everyone sees it. Your boss sees it. Your colleagues see it. Your competitors see it. The people you are trying to impress see it. They see the need for approval in how you over-explain simple decisions. They see the fear of rejection in how you soften every opinion. They see the desperation for validation in how you fish for compliments. They see the fragility in how you react when challenged. And they use it, not because they are malicious, because you are exploitable, because you have built a mind with visible pressure points, because you have made it easy for anyone who studies you for 10 minutes to know exactly how to destabilize you. You have just absorbed 8 laws, not read them, absorbed them. Now the question is not whether you understand them. The question is whether you will execute them. Because understanding without execution is just intellectual entertainment. It is mental masturbation. It changes nothing. You will close this video, return to your fragile patterns, and wonder why you are still breakable. The laws do not work through agreement. They work through application. So I will ask you directly, which law are you violating right now, today, in real time? Be specific, because that is the law you start with. In a world of noise, be the silence. Let me describe your life with forensic precision. You woke up this morning. First thing you did, reached for your phone. Before your feet touched the floor, before you processed where you were, before you remembered what day it was, your hand moved toward the screen. You scrolled, you compared, you measured yourself against curated lives, against highlight reels, against people who are performing success while you perform adequacy. You told yourself it was just staying informed, just checking in, just seeing what is happening. This is the first surrender of the day. The first moment you traded sovereignty for stimulation. You did not even make it 60 seconds before outsourcing your mental state to forces outside your control. You go to work. Someone questions your idea in a meeting. Your stomach tightens. Not because the question was valid, because it was public, because now others heard doubt expressed about your competence. You spend the next 40 minutes replaying the interaction. 7 better responses, 4 clarifications, 2 preemptive defenses for the next meeting. This is defender behavior. You are operating in constant damage control mode, managing perceptions instead of executing strategy. You sit at lunch, alone. You pull out your phone because the absence of company feels like a statement about your social value. You cannot exist in solitude without needing to fill it. You scroll. You text someone. You need proof that you are not actually alone, just choosing to be alone right now. This is validator behavior. You are outsourcing your comfort with your own company to evidence that other people still want your company. You go home. Someone you live with is distant. You immediately internalize it. What did you do wrong? Should you ask? Should you give them space? You cannot function in the uncertainty. You need resolution. You need to know if their mood is about you. You need to fix it if it is. You need confirmation that it is not if it is not. This is internalizer behavior. You are hosting everyone else's emotional weather inside your own nervous system. You lie in bed. You think about tomorrow, the presentation, the conversation you need to have, the deadline. But you are not strategizing. You are catastrophizing. You are running failure simulations. You are pre-experiencing rejection that has not occurred. You are manufacturing anxiety about futures that do not exist. You call this being prepared. It is not. It is mental self-sabotage. This is your life. This is the unedited architecture. You are not navigating the world from a position of strength. You are surviving it from a position of perpetual fragility. Let me show you where the fractures are. You believe that sensitivity is depth, that being affected by things proves you are human, that feeling everything intensely is a sign of emotional intelligence. This is the lie they sold you to keep you controllable. Sensitivity without sovereignty is not depth. It is dependency. You are not emotionally intelligent. You are emotionally porous. Every external force penetrates you. Every comment, every glance, every change in tone. You absorb it all, process none of it effectively, then carry the residue for days. You post about boundaries, but you have none. You talk about self-care, but you do not protect your mental state from invasion. You claim independence, but your mood is determined by the last interaction you had. You are a psychological sponge. You soak up everything. You retain everything. You become heavy with other people's projections, opinions, and energy. Then you wonder why you feel exhausted. You think you are empathetic. You are not. You are codependent. Real empathy is the ability to understand another person's state without absorbing it. You cannot do this. When someone is anxious, you become anxious. When someone is angry, you become destabilized. When someone withdraws, you spiral. This is not connection. This is contagion. You have confused emotional availability with strength. You have confused responsiveness with maturity. You have confused your inability to maintain internal stability with being a good person. And here is the most dangerous part. You have built an identity around this fragility. You tell yourself you are sensitive, you are thoughtful, you are considerate. These are not character traits. These are defense mechanisms for a mind that cannot handle conflict, cannot tolerate disapproval, cannot exist without external validation. You are not mentally tough. You are mentally performative. You know the language. You post the quotes. You listen to the podcasts. You perform the aesthetics of resilience while operating from a foundation of complete penetrability. Let me be specific about what this looks like. Someone at work gets promoted over you. You smile. You congratulate them. You say all the right things. But internally, you are disintegrating. You question your worth. You replay every interaction with your manager, looking for where you failed. You compare yourself to the person who got promoted. You construct narratives about favoritism, politics, unfairness. You do not process the disappointment. You do not extract the lesson. You do not adjust your strategy. You just spiral in a loop of inadequacy for 72 hours until the next thing distracts you. This is sleeper behavior. You are asleep to your own patterns. You are running the same psychological programs you ran at 15 years old. You have not upgraded. You have not evolved. You have just gotten better at hiding the collapse. Your relationship ends. You tell people you are fine. You post about growth. You talk about lessons learned. But you are checking their social media 4 times a day. You are analyzing their new posts for signs they are happier without you. You are looking for evidence that they miss you. You need them to regret leaving you, because if they do not, it confirms your deepest fear, that you are not worth keeping. This is mimic behavior. You are mimicking recovery while remaining psychologically hostage to someone who is no longer in your life. You start a project, a business, a creative endeavor, something that matters to you. You work on it for 3 weeks. Then someone makes a dismissive comment, not even direct criticism, just a casual, "I do not know if there is a market for that," or "that has been done before." You stop, not immediately. You tell yourself you are just taking a break. You are just refining the idea. You are just waiting for the right time. But the truth is, one comment from one person was enough to destabilize your commitment to something you claimed was important to you. This is what happens when your internal conviction is weaker than external opinion. This is what happens when you have not built sovereignty. You are not mentally tough. You are mentally reactive. You are one criticism away from abandoning your goals. one rejection away from questioning your path, one disapproving look away from compromising your standards. And the worst part is, you know this. You know you are fragile. You know you break easily. You know you need validation. But instead of fixing the architecture, you have just gotten better at managing the performance. You have learned to hide it. You have learned the right things to say. You have learned how to appear unaffected while being completely penetrated. You are a facade, a shell, a performance of toughness built on a foundation of absolute fragility. Here is what you are not doing. You are not executing the severance doctrine. You are still tethered to being understood. You are not applying the Fortuna framework. You are still shocked when things go wrong. You are not practicing the asymmetrical response. You are still reacting in proportion to every stimulus. You have not activated the opacity protocol. You are still over-explaining, over-sharing, over-revealing. You have not completed the deletion imperative. You are still operating on inherited programming. You have not conducted the mercenary audit. You are still surrounded by conditional relationships. You have not internalized the self-sourced power. You are still waiting for external conditions to save you. You have not performed the surgical elimination. You are still negotiating with weaknesses that should be executed. You are not mentally tough. You are mentally theatrical, and everyone sees it. Your boss sees it. Your colleagues see it. Your competitors see it. The people you are trying to impress see it. They see the need for approval in how you over-explain simple decisions. They see the fear of rejection in how you soften every opinion. They see the desperation for validation in how you fish for compliments. They see the fragility in how you react when challenged, and they use it. Not because they are malicious, because you are exploitable, because you have built a mind with visible pressure points, because you have made it easy for anyone who studies you for 10 minutes to know exactly how to destabilize you. This is the cost of your current architecture. This is the invoice you have been ignoring. This is the reality you have been performing around instead of addressing. You are not untouchable. You are penetrable. You are breakable. You are one bad day away from collapse. And until you accept this with surgical precision, you will never build differently. The sleeper dreams of strength. The sovereign builds it in silence. You want to be untouchable? Then you must execute the surgery. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready. Now. In these conditions. With this level of awareness. With this much resistance. This is not self-improvement. This is self-reconstruction. This is the deletion of every psychological dependency that makes you fragile, followed by the installation of an operating system built for sovereignty. Here is your dark protocol, 8 surgical procedures. Each one targets a specific fracture in your current architecture. Execute them with precision or do not execute them at all. Partial commitment produces partial results, and partial results in mental toughness are just fragility with better optics. Protocol 1, the void immersion. Every single day for the next 90 days, you will sit in complete silence for 30 minutes. No phone, no music, no podcast, no book, no distraction, no input of any kind. Just you, in a room, alone, with your thoughts. This is the void. This is where most people break. Because in the absence of external stimulation, they are forced to confront the emptiness of their internal architecture. They realize they have no self outside of their distractions, their validations, their inputs. The untouchable mind is built in the void, not in the noise. Here is what will happen. Week 1, you will hate this. You will feel anxious, restless, like you are wasting time. Your mind will produce urgent tasks, emails you need to send, things you need to check, people you need to text. These are not real urgencies. These are withdrawal symptoms. Your nervous system is detoxing from stimulation addiction. Week 2, you will start bargaining. Maybe just 10 minutes. Maybe with music. Maybe just journaling instead. This is the program fighting for survival. Do not negotiate. Week 3, the thoughts will get louder. Regrets, failures, fears, things you have been outrunning with busyness. They will surface. They will demand attention. Let them. Observe them. Do not engage with them. Do not solve them. Just witness them. Week 4 through 12, something shifts. The noise quiets. The compulsion fades. You start to access a version of yourself that exists independent of external input. This is sovereignty. This is the foundation. Operational execution. Set a daily alarm. Same time, every day. Sit. 30 minutes. No exceptions. Track your compliance. 100% execution or restart the 90 days. Protocol 2. The 7-second insertion. For the next 60 days, before responding to any emotionally charged stimulus, you will pause for 7 full seconds. Someone criticizes you. 7 seconds. Someone praises you. 7 seconds. Someone provokes you. 7 seconds. Count them. 1. Observe the stimulus. 2. Observe your impulse. 3. Observe the emotion. 4. Observe the narrative forming. 5. Observe the urge to react. 6. Observe the physical sensation. 7. Choose your response from agency, not automation. This rewires the circuit between stimulus and response. Right now, you are a machine. Input determines output. Someone presses a button, you perform the programmed reaction. The 7-second insertion breaks the automation. It creates space where freedom lives. Here is what will happen. You will fail constantly at first. Someone will say something. You will react immediately. Then you will remember the protocol 3 seconds too late. This is expected. You are fighting decades of conditioning. Track your success rate. Week 1, you might hit 20%. Week 4, 50%. Week 8, 80%. By week 12, the pause becomes automatic. When the pause becomes automatic, you are no longer controllable. Operational execution. Carry a small object in your pocket. Every time you fail to insert the 7 seconds, transfer it to the other pocket. At the end of each day, count your failures. This creates accountability without judgment. Protocol 3. The misunderstanding covenant. For the next 30 days, you will allow one misunderstanding about you to exist without correction every single day. Someone misinterprets your email. Let it stand. Someone assumes the wrong motive. Do not clarify. Someone spreads a minor inaccuracy about you. Watch it spread. This is excruciating for most people because you have been trained to believe your reputation is your responsibility to curate. It is not. Your reputation is other people's interpretation of incomplete data. You cannot control it. Attempting to control it makes you controllable. Here is what will happen. The first time you let a misunderstanding stand, you will feel phantom pain. The urge to correct it will be overwhelming. You will draft the clarification email 7 times. You will rehearse the conversation. You will convince yourself that staying silent is irresponsible. It is not. It is training. By day 30, you will start to notice something. Most misunderstandings resolve themselves. Or they do not matter. Or they reveal who is actually paying attention versus who is just reacting to fragments. The people who matter will ask you directly. The people who do not matter will believe whatever narrative serves them. Let them. Operational execution. Keep a log. Each day, write down the misunderstanding you allowed to exist. Write down what you wanted to say. Then write down what actually happened as a result of your silence. In 90% of cases, the consequence will be 0. Protocol 4, the Fortuna Drill. Every Sunday for the next 12 weeks, you will write down 3 specific things that could go catastrophically wrong in the coming week. Job loss, relationship rupture, health crisis, financial disaster, reputation damage. For each scenario, you will write your operational response, not how you would feel, what you would do. Step 1, Step 2, Step 3. This is premeditatio malorum, negative visualization, the Stoic practice of pre-experiencing adversity, so that when it arrives, your response is preloaded, not paralytic. Here is what will happen. The first time you do this, it will feel morbid, pessimistic, like you are manifesting disaster. You are not. You are preparing your nervous system. By week 4, you will notice something. When minor adversity occurs during the week, you are less rattled, because you have already run worse simulations. Your baseline for chaos has been recalibrated. By week 12, you will have built a library of response protocols. When chaos arrives, you do not freeze. You do not spiral. You access the protocol and execute. Operational execution. Use a dedicated notebook. 3 scenarios per week. Full response protocols. Review them Friday. Measure how often your preloaded response is activated during real adversity. Protocol 5. The mercenary severance. Within the next 14 days, you will identify 3 relationships that are transactional, energy-draining, or conditionally loyal. You will reduce contact with each by 70%. No explanation, no dramatic exit, no closure conversation. You simply withdraw your energy, your time, your availability. Here is what will happen. Most people will not notice. This is data. If someone does not notice a 70% reduction in your presence, they were never actually present to you. They were present to what you provided. A few will notice. A few will reach out. Is everything okay? Did I do something wrong? You have been distant. Your response. I have been focusing on some things. All good. No elaboration. No justification. You are testing for pursuit. If they pursue, they might be actual relationships. If they accept your vague answer and disappear, they were mercenaries. This is brutal. This reveals how alone you actually are. Most people avoid this audit because the truth destabilizes them, but sovereignty requires truth. Operational execution. Write down 3 names. Set a 90-day timer. Reduce contact by 70%. Track who pursues. Track who disappears. Recalibrate your trust distribution accordingly. Protocol 6. The elimination matrix. Right now, today, you will identify your 3 most debilitating psychological dependencies, the patterns that make you most fragile. Write them down. Dependency 1. The need for social media validation. Dependency 2. The need to be understood in every interaction. Dependency 3. The need for comfort and certainty. For each dependency, you will design a 90-day extinction protocol. If it is social media validation, delete every social application from your phone. Not disable, delete. For 90 days, no exceptions. No just checking on my laptop. Complete elimination. If it is the need to be understood, implement the misunderstanding covenant permanently. Stop explaining yourself. Stop clarifying. Stop defending. If it is the need for comfort, introduce 1 deliberately uncomfortable action per day. Cold shower, difficult conversation, physical challenge, something that makes you want to quit. Here is what will happen. Your nervous system will produce withdrawal symptoms, anxiety, irritability, compulsion, phantom urges to check, to explain, to retreat, to comfort. These are not real needs. These are the dependencies fighting for survival. Let them die. By day 30, the compulsion weakens. By day 60, it is manageable. By day 90, the dependency is dead. You have built a new pathway. You have eliminated a leverage point. Operational execution, 3 dependencies, 3 extinction protocols, 90 days, 100% compliance. Track every violation. Every violation restarts the 90-day clock for that specific protocol. Protocol 7, the opacity training. For the next 45 days, you will reduce unsolicited personal disclosure by 80%. When someone asks why you made a decision, it aligns with my priorities. When someone probes your emotional state, I am handling it. When someone tries to extract your strategy, I will share outcomes when there are outcomes to share. Minimum viable answers. No elaboration, no vulnerability, no ammunition. Here is what will happen. People will call you guarded, closed off, difficult to read. They will say you have changed. They will probe harder. They will try to guilt you into transparency. This is not concern. This is them losing access to data they were using to predict you, manage you, or leverage you. Hold the line. Operational execution. Before answering any personal question, ask yourself, does this person need this information, or do they want it? Ned gets a full answer. Want gets minimum viable. Protocol. 8. The sovereign decision drill. For the next 60 days, you will make 1 decision per week, based purely on your internal assessment, regardless of external opinion. Week 1. Choose something small. What you eat, what you wear, what you do on Saturday. Week 4. Choose something medium, a project you start, a commitment you end, a boundary you set. Week 8. Choose something significant, a career move, a relationship decision, a financial risk. For each decision, you will not ask for input. You will not seek validation. You will not explain your reasoning. You will decide, then execute. Here is what will happen. You will feel reckless at first, like you are being irresponsible by not consulting others. This is the old program, the one that believes your judgment is less reliable than consensus. By week 12, you will start to trust your own assessments. You will realize that most of the advice you sought in the past was not better than your instinct. It was just more comfortable because it distributed responsibility. Sovereignty means you own your decisions, all of them, the effective ones and the catastrophic ones. Operational execution. Keep a decision log. Write down each sovereign decision. Write down what you would have done if you had sought consensus. 6 months later, audit which approach produced better outcomes. You have just read 8 protocols, not suggestions, surgical procedures. Now the question is binary. Will you execute or will you spectate? Because most people will intellectually agree with everything in this video, feel temporarily motivated, then return to their fragile patterns by tomorrow morning. They will save this video. They will take notes. They will tell themselves they will start Monday. They will not. They will remain exactly as penetrable as they were before they clicked play. Do not be most people. The weak plan. The sovereign execute. There is a truth about mental toughness that I cannot say directly on this platform without triggering algorithmic suppression. It is too asymmetrical, too unsentimental, too dangerous for mass consumption, so I will not state it explicitly. But if you have made it this far, you already know what it is. Mental toughness requires a willingness to be alone. Not lonely, alone. There is a difference. Loneliness is the painful awareness of isolation. Aloneness is the sovereign acceptance of solitude. Most people cannot distinguish between the two. They fill every gap with noise, with people, with distractions because the absence of external input feels like death. It is not death. It is the beginning of sovereignty. Building an untouchable mind means accepting that most people will not understand you. They will not celebrate your transformation. They will not support your severance from the dependencies they still worship. When you stop defending yourself, they will call you arrogant. When you stop seeking consensus, they will call you stubborn. When you stop over-explaining, they will call you cold. These are not insults. These are confirmations. They are proof that you are no longer operating from the fragile architecture they recognize and can manipulate. You will lose people in this process, not because you are cruel, because you are no longer useful to them in the ways they grew accustomed to. You will no longer be the one who needs their validation. You will no longer be the one who bends to their moods. You will no longer be the emotional labor they outsourced their stability to. This is the cost, and most people, when they see the bill, will choose to remain fragile. They will choose the comfort of being understood over the isolation of being sovereign. They will choose the safety of consensus over the risk of autonomous judgment. They will turn this video off right here. They will say it is too extreme, too cold, too much. They will retreat to the familiar prison of needing approval, needing validation, needing the world to cooperate with their emotional requirements. But you are still here. That means something. It means you have already crossed a threshold. It means the pain of remaining fragile has exceeded the pain of becoming untouchable. It means you are willing to pay the price that most people will spend their entire lives avoiding. Here is what they will not tell you in the self-help industrial complex. Mental toughness is not celebrated. It is resented, because your refusal to break reminds others that they are breaking constantly. Your sovereignty exposes their dependency. Your untouchability reveals their penetrability. You will not be more liked after this. You will be more effective. And effectiveness in a world that profits from your fragility looks like a threat. Accept this now, or turn back. Because once you execute these protocols, once you delete the dependencies, once you build the fortress, there is no returning to the version of you that needed everyone's approval to function. That version dies. And most people are not willing to kill it because they have confused that fragile version with their identity. You are not your need for validation. You are not your addiction to comfort. You are not your fear of being alone. These are programs, and programs can be deleted. What remains after the deletion is sovereignty, and sovereignty is lonely at first, because you are standing in a place where most people will never stand. You are operating from a frequency most people will never access. But here is what they also will not tell you. After the loneliness comes clarity. After the isolation comes power. After the severance comes peace. Not the peace of having no problems, the peace of having an untouchable mind that processes problems without fracturing. This is what Machiavelli understood in exile. This is what every sovereign mind throughout history understood. The world is not here to validate you. It is here to test you. And the test is simple. Can you stand when everything else falls? Most cannot. Most will not even try. Most will spend their entire lives building elaborate facades to hide the fact that they are one criticism away from collapse. You do not have to be most. The wolf does not announce its presence. It simply appears. Do not subscribe to this channel because you enjoyed the video. Do not click the button because you want more content. Do not join because the algorithm suggested it. Subscribe as an act of contractual commitment to your own transformation, a signal to your sovereign self that you are executing the 8 laws, that you are running the 8 protocols, that you are no longer a spectator of your own potential, but the architect of your own untouchable mind. This is not a community. This is a covenant, a binding agreement between you and the version of yourself that refuses to remain fragile. If you click subscribe, you are agreeing to hold yourself accountable, to execute the void immersion, to apply the 7-second insertion, to honor the misunderstanding covenant, to run the Fortuna drill, to complete the mercenary severance, to execute the elimination matrix, to maintain the opacity training, to perform the sovereign decision drill. If you are not willing to do this, do not subscribe. I do not need your view count. I do not need your engagement metrics. I need your commitment to your own architectural reconstruction. The subscribe button is not for me. It is for you. It is the moment you stop performing toughness and start building it. It is the moment you transition from intellectual agreement to operational execution. Click it or do not. But know this: the decision you make in the next 10 seconds reveals whether you are still a defender, a validator, or an internalizer, or whether you are ready to become sovereign. The sovereign does not ask for permission. The sovereign decides. In 1513, Niccolò Machiavelli sat in exile, stripped of his position, tortured, broken physically, destroyed politically, abandoned by everyone who once depended on him. He could have begged for mercy. He could have written apologies. He could have spent his remaining years seeking redemption from those who discarded him. He did not. He wrote The Prince. He built a mind that did not need the world to be kind. He built a doctrine that outlived every person who betrayed him. He became untouchable, not because he avoided pain, but because he built his sovereignty in the center of it. 500 years later, his name is legend. The names of those who destroyed him are dust. This is the final lesson. Mental toughness is not about surviving adversity. It is about building an internal architecture so fortified that adversity becomes irrelevant. The world will test you. People will betray you. Circumstances will collapse. Plans will fail. Expectations will shatter. And when they do, only one question matters. Did you build a mind that stands when everything else falls? You know the answer. Now execute accordingly. The architect builds in silence. The empire follows.